Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Here we are again. Welcome back to those of you that joined us this afternoon for the third section. We are here tonight for part one of the championship section of the contest. This contest is sponsored by World of Brass this evening, and part two will follow tomorrow evening at the same time, 6 p.m. It's sure to be a very exciting climax to what has already been a terrific Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships for 2021. Now, as you know, we put a regional spin on the entirety of this competition, mainly to reflect the fact that the usual regional contests across the UK have been lost to the pandemic. So let's have a quick look at the regional leaderboard. And I have to say the small caveat that this is the leaderboard after week two. So after last week's contest, it has not been updated yet to include the youth and the third section. This time tomorrow night, I'll share with you a leaderboard which has been updated to include those two sections, so a penultimate leaderboard. But let's have a look at this now then after week two. There's been a bit of movement, as you can see. Sitting right at the top of the tree there is the region we've called the rest of the world. We've been hearing some incredibly strong entries from all kinds of countries across the world, including the Far East, Australia, America, to name but a few. The rest of the world has actually gone up 3 points since 3 places since the first week to now rest right at the top. Very strong representation from Yorkshire, as you would probably expect. They've gone up 4 places to be this week's second place band on the regional leaderboard. And Europe looking particularly strong as well. They're in third place now, which they also were after week one. Looking at the other end of the table, the leaders after week one were the North and Northwest, so down 6 places for them. Just goes to show how quickly things can change from week to week. We're coming to you live now from the Cory Band room in South Wales, so we're particularly interested in how Wales is doing on this leaderboard. 6th place at the moment, that's down 4 from last week. So best of luck to all the bands in all the regions. That is how it's looking just at the moment. And like I say, this time tomorrow we'll update you with how it looks, and then obviously once we get to the results ceremony tomorrow evening, then we will give you the final regional leaderboard and we can see which region rules the virtual brass band world. So that's the regional leaderboard. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to be looking at the championship section this evening. We have 16 bands in total, so 8 bands tonight and 8 bands tomorrow night. And in the judges' seats, we have 3 very experienced judges to look over all 16 bands. They're here tonight. The same panel will be back tomorrow, of course. So let me introduce them to you. On my far right, we have Cory Band's musical consultant, Nigel Seaman. Good evening, Nigel.
Good evening, Phil, and hello, everybody.
It's nice to welcome you back to the judges' seat. You were here for our last online competition last September, and I know you've been tuning in to watch a lot of the bands this time. Indeed. Have you noticed a development in the band's skills?
It's phenomenal, really. You know, we thought the standards at the end of last competition was really high, but I've been following all the competitions so far, and the improvement over all the sections, and particularly last weekend's first section. If that's the yardstick for this evening, it's going to be a great competition. Yeah, and I know you've already given hints on your interviews recently as to how good tonight is going to be. Yeah.
Well, the first section was a real Bobby Dazzler, wasn't it, last week? It really was. So you're very welcome this evening, of course, sitting next to Nigel, although far enough away, 2 metres away, in actual fact, and a screen in between. We have Cory Band's soprano cornet player, Steve Stewart. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Phil.
Long time no see. Last time I saw you was last September.
It was about 6 months ago, yes.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Not an awful lot.
like all of us, I guess. Are you looking forward to the contest tonight?
I've been following the past couple of weekends. I think the stand has upped from the last time, and really hoping that this is going to be, like you said, an absolute Bobby Dazzler tonight, yeah.
Signs are looking good. Completing the judging lineup tonight, and sitting on my left-hand side, we have Cory Band's principal cornet player, Tom Hutchison. Hi, Tom.
Good evening, Phil.
This is your second judging from this contest, isn't it? Which section did you judge before?
I did the university section last Friday.
Of course, right, yeah. And each section has been very closely fought, but obviously this is the championship section. We have 16 bands. So how are you feeling about looking at so many bands over 2 nights?
Yeah, I can't wait. I think the standard so far, as the other judges have said, has been superb, and I think that a lot of bands have built on what they achieved in the last championships last year. So yeah, I can't wait to hear what the championship section bands have got in store for us.
So our judges are locked and loaded, ready to go. We are streaming live on YouTube, as you know. We also have the YouTube live chat open, and we'd love to hear your opinions and constructive comments, please. We are moderating the chat tonight, so make sure that your comments are very supportive of all the bands on show this evening, and we look forward to reading your opinions in the YouTube chat there as we go along. Right, well, without further ado, let me introduce to you band number 1 in this evening's contest. This is the Easington Colliery Band, who are from the northern area of the United Kingdom, and their musical director is Daniel Brooks. The programme starts with a fairly new piece of music by Andy Scott called Space Invaders, which uses actual footage of the game. Our soloist is Daniel Robson, the band's principal cornet player. Daniel comes from the local area and shows his virtuosity in the solo piece. He has also been a fantastic leader within the organisation over the last few years. Our finale is a newly commissioned piece, especially for this contest, by the talented young composer Nick Brocklehurst, and it is a world premiere. I should remind viewers that amongst many of the special prizes which we'll be awarding tomorrow night, there is an award which applies across all of the sections for the best new music. It's sponsored by Jonathan Bates Music, and obviously Easington's first piece is eligible for that award. The piece depicts the legend of the Lambton Worm taking place in the Lambton estate and surrounding areas, making this a very local, legend for the band. The band sought special permission to film on the Lambton estate as the backdrop for this new music. The story tells of a creature caught from the River Wear, described by John Lambton as catching the devil. He casts it aside into a well where it grows and poisons the water. The worm's wrath returns 7 years later, and John decides to fight it after seeking guidance from a witch near Durham. The witch hardens his resolve to kill the beast, of which John does in a violent struggle. The music depicts this tale in thematic fashion, bringing our programme to a close. Here we go then, folks. Sit back, relax, and enjoy band number 1 in the championship section, Easington Colliery Band. Wow, there we are. Band number 1 in the championship section, the Easington Colliery Band there with some dramatic stuff. Let's go straight to the judges for some immediate feedback. Nigel, if I could start for you, could you give me some thoughts on our band number 1?
Sort of a last thing I said was descriptive, dramatic and daring. I thought it was a terrific opening there with the Space Invaders. That was arresting. Great nifty work from the basses to sort of set up the foundation for all that. A lot of tight interjections from the top end of the band. And a nice reminder of even my childhood with all the graphics of the Space Invaders there. The complete, all the rhythms are hard enough to do, I would have thought, in real time. But actually to do it on remote recordings, I think is very, very impressive. Really, really tight, very punchy, and I thought that was an excellent first piece. Yeah, you're not going to ask me about the two cornet players in the room, are you? About the next piece?
See to them. Yeah, you're right. The music was pretty complex, wasn't it? I mean, Steve, what were your impressions of their programme? I mean, I can imagine it took a lot of bringing together that.
I think so. I mean, I'll just add to what Nigel was saying about the Space Invaders. That's a hard piece, and to pull that off at kind of distance. Bravo, guys. I mean, that takes a real effort. I actually put about the graphics, you have to be of a certain age to understand the graphics at the start. I mean, we that was my childhood was playing Space.
I remember that as well. Tom's looking blankly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's and I actually a shout out to the percussion and the drums on the first piece. You really held it together as well. I thought you guys were excellent. And the last piece, just to back up what Nigel was saying, I just put very atmospheric, telling a story, some nice graphics in there. Your monster looked decidedly like something from Loch Ness, I thought, so all these things seem to look the same. Would like to mention Dan. I just put bravo, Daniel. Bravo. Great playing there. And I loved the black and white touch with the colour with the band. That worked really well. I just felt a little bit between the band and him, there was the odd occasion, but these things happen as we've discussed. This is all done at distance. And I've just put a bit of Maynard at the end. Definitely, well done. You went for it and you got it.
Yeah, went for it and got it, exactly. And that's another example of what I said earlier about the complex music. That's not just to kind of start and play through, is it, Harry James? It starts and stops in different tempos and pauses and all sorts of things. So,
I think as well that it'd be a bit of a nightmare to put together. We've kind of avoided stuff like that, really, haven't we, when we've been doing our distance stuff. But bravo, there's obviously been an awful lot of work gone into that.
Yeah.
Overall, especially in the first piece. I mean, that would just give us headaches. They did it. They pulled it off.
They certainly did it. And Tom, I know you've done the Harry James Trumpet Concerto very recently, haven't you, on your WOD play recital, which was fantastic. So obviously that's kind of under the fingers with you at the moment. What did you think? Yeah,
I thought Dan played that really stylishly. I can't wait to hear him do that top G in concert. But no, I thought it was overall it was a really clever, well put together performance rather. And I just think that it really captured the essence of distance performance, the way that they used the graphics from the Space Invader game. I'm aware of it. I never played it as a child, as you pointed out, a little bit too young for that. But yeah, the opening, as you alluded to, Nigel, was full of really intricate and technical passages that I thought the band really linked together well. For me, I could have just done with a little bit more dynamics. It was a little bit static throughout, but again, that obviously is partly down to how good your IT guy is and how well they can put this together, I guess. But yeah, it was a really clever opening piece. As I said, that the Harry James was brilliant. I love the black and white video as well. We talked about that, but I'd have liked to have seen Dan with the 40s moustache as well. I think that would have topped it up, really topped it off. And then the Legend of Lambton to finish. Just I've never heard that piece before, and I think that would work really, really well in concert. So
yeah, world premiere that was. So no one's heard it before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why then.
That'll be why. Yeah.
But I think that's going to be a piece which many bands will look to maybe end programs, because it was just so majestic and some brilliant sounds and a really enjoyable performance overall.
Yes, absolutely, and I agree with what you said. That the last piece really was how to do it, bring all elements together, the music, the visual, the story, the local storytelling as well. It all worked, didn't it? Mm-hmm. What a great start to our contest, that really was. Let's go straight on to band number 2 now. This is Brunel Brass from the west of England with their musical director Daniel Hall. Their programme is called Tribute to the Duke. Now, it's a collection of songs written by the well-known American band leader Duke Ellington. The programme includes Caravan, featuring the band's principal trombonist Glenn Shepherd. Cornet solo Never No Lament, performed by the winner of the band's 2020 Hymn March and Soloist competition, Owain Walton. And finishing with one of Duke Ellington's lesser-known hidden gems, the Giddy Bug Gallop. Here we go then with the second band in the championship section, Brunel Brass. Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. You're listening to the World of Brass Championship section. We just heard band number 2 there, Brunel Brass, with their musical director Daniel Hall. Putting all their eggs in the big band basket there, and possibly not a bad thing. Let's go to the judges, see what they thought. Tom Hutchinson, first of all. Brunel Brass, what did you think?
I thought that was a great overall performance, Phil. Caravan is one of my favourite pieces. It was just really tight. I thought it was terrific. All the lines cut through really well. It was sharp, slick, exciting playing. Silky smooth soloist in Glenn. And then a great drum solo, and then a bit of icing on the cake with some good stop playing at the end. I thought that was a really sparkling opening number.
The balance was good, I thought, wasn't it? The drum kit was exactly where it should have been in the mix.
There was a moment where I thought it was too much, but then actually it settled in. But you absolutely heard everything, and obviously when the horns came in, quite often in that kind of music, some of the lower lines can get a little bit lost, but we heard absolutely everything there, so it worked so well. Never No Lament. Owen captured the 20s jazz style perfectly, really. Loads of quick vib, lots of slide glissers, flourishes, effects, and the band also really stylish in the way that they delivered this piece as well. It's difficult when you're playing jazz music as a brass band because we get slated for it so often, but I thought at times I thought it was in a New York jazz club. It was really, really authentic.
It was pretty stylistic, wasn't it? I heard the sort of walking bass sounded very, very pizzicato-like.
Yeah.
And what did you think of the final diminuendo?
It was effective, wasn't it?
Wasn't it good? Yeah.
And the use of the piano as well worked really well. Just a clever performance. Great soloist nonetheless. And then the Giddybug Gallop. I never heard this piece before, and I thought it was brilliant. Great energy and drive. I wonder how long those solos took to learn the cornet and euphonium. Although the euphonium just got a little bit lost in the balance, but that was a terrific overall performance. Good theme, and most importantly, great playing as well.
It was a virtuosic piece, wasn't it, for sure? Steve, what did you make of it all?
I'd just like to back up all the stuff that Tom said. More or less covered what I've actually written. In the Caravan piece, Glenn Shepherd, bravo Glenn, really tasteful playing, great stuff. I put slick band work and great production going on, great percussion and drums, really nicely driven. And at the end, I put bravo sop, nice sop playing. The Never No Lament is one of these kind of things that type of tempo, it's quite hard to find that, and we've discussed that a lot with Cory. And they sat back on it. They really sat back on it, and it worked a treat for me. I just put nice tempo, and I love the idea of having like Tom said, having the piano in that. It really added to it. I thought the basses were really important in this number, just sitting on the tempo nicely. And I'd like to. The only other thing I wrote was lovely, tasteful stuff. Lovely, tasteful stuff. You can go over the top with solos like that, and sometimes it's better to go down maybe the Miles Davis route where it's not the notes you play. It's all this. It's just take your time. You did that. Bravo, mate. Bravo. The Giddybug Gallop. I've, like Tom, never heard it before. Very up-tempo, and I would presume very hard stuff to put together in a distance video. And I've just put it held together well and really nicely bass-driven again, so they were really pushing it this time. Great stuff from the trombone, the cornet, and the youth with the obligatory whoop whoop, which they all seem to love doing, which is, that's great. All I've put, though, is at the end, maybe a wee bit ambitious on the sop part. I couldn't get anywhere near that, mate. So I just put something that my teacher James Watson always told me: sometimes less is more. Know what you're doing. Just stick within your range. Apart from that, great playing all round and a real nice feel. I really enjoyed it.
There was lots and lots to enjoy there, wasn't there, for sure. Thank you so much indeed to Brunel Brass, our band number 2, for everything you brought to your programme there. As really, the first 2 bands there in the championship section, wow, this is going to be some contest, isn't it? Let's move on to band number 3, the Mickelmersch Silver Band from the west of England. Their musical director is Melvin White. Now, Mickelmersch Silver Band is very proud to represent the west of England region and the Test Valley in Hampshire. Its home village is situated just outside the picturesque market town of Romsey, and the band has the privilege of being part of a thriving arts and culture scene in the town. Romsey is home to one of the finest examples of Norman architecture in southern England, its Abbey Church. Watching over the town, Romsey Abbey has been a symbol of steadfast hope for over 900 years. A town of streams and rivers, Romsey has the beautiful crystal clear waters of the River Test running through its heart. The river's flow is constant, an allure for fishermen and poets alike. We use our programme today to celebrate the power and glory of this wonderful place nestled in the sweeping Test Valley. This is band number 3, Mickelmersch Silver Band.
Town of many streams and water, Romsey on the River Test. From the murmurs of their flowing, this old town must never rest. Stand on any of her bridges, peering at the stream below, lost amid the banks and shallows as the fascinations grow. river's flow is constant, the abbey stands in steadfast hope. Here her bells ring clear and brightly, beauty made by bronze and rope. For generations she's been there, 900 years standing tall, home to saints, clergy and monarchs, to Florence Nightingale's call. On the banks old mills are standing, clothed in veneration's pall, relics of their past still showing on the grass and on the wall. Romsey, town of streams and water, how you grip this heart of me. May your beauty never falter, nor your murmurs cease to be.
How great to hear Eric Ball in the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships, courtesy of band number 3 tonight, the Mickelmersch Silver Band. Well, lots to discuss there. Let's go straight to Steve Stewart. What were your overall impressions of Mickelmersch, Steve?
Yeah, really enjoyed that. A nice, thoughtful presentation there. I loved, actually, it didn't tell us who the narrator was through the thread of the 3 pieces, but bravo narrator.
Perhaps really, perhaps they could put that on the YouTube live chat if anyone knows.
Absolutely, yeah. Bravo, fine effort, really well spoken out, and it linked each one of the pieces beautifully, I thought. The first piece was Living Power, Tom Devoren. I thought I've put down Loving Our Tour of Romsey, somewhere I've never been, but seeing the graphics I'd love to go to. Nice graphics, and I love the bandstand bit with the band sort of formation sort of thing in the bandstand. Yeah, the
aesthetic of the whole programme was to put the band in the town, wasn't it? Which, did you think that worked?
I think it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
I really did. It's just very, very thoughtful, and I really enjoyed that. It was just really nice. It was a nice 10 minutes. It took me away, which is what I'm looking for, and we're all looking for here, is like 10 minutes of just being taken away somewhere else. And I was taken to Romsey for 10 minutes. The second piece, Jesus Wipes Away My Tears, I had a bit of a problem with the soloist was Daniel Pearce, who I thought did a fine job, but I was a bit puzzled. What I put down here was a bit puzzled why Daniel isn't front and centre on the graphics. He seemed to be off somewhere that way, and I would have, if it had been me doing the graphics, which, you know, I don't know how to do graphics, but if I had been doing the graphics, I would have had him front and centre as a soloist. That would make sense to me. But really nicely played, Daniel, really tastefully played. And of course, the last thing, Kingdom Triumphant, brave. Anybody taking on a bit of Eric Ball is always brave, and I put a really good effort. Well done, bravo.
Yeah, good. Nigel, would you echo some of that? I mean, can you tell us your impressions of the sound production as well and the audio quality that we heard there?
Yeah, on my headphones, it feels quite sort of bass thick at times.
And
did you think it was odd? I'm not sure a bass player actually ever visually appeared on screen. Did you see one?
I didn't.
Did you see one, Tom?
Right.
Well, so the bass. I mean, the basses you're saying are very heavy in the mix, but yeah, that may be so. But they definitely weren't.
A thick mix.
I don't think they were there visually.
Yeah. Living Power by Tom Dvorak, ex-student of mine, now doing very well in America. As Steve said, great graphics at the beginning to go with the dramatic music. And I love the way the bandstand was populated gradually as the players arrived. I also noticed some organic dovetailed basses. So I detected there was some dovetailing going on in whatever basses were there. It was a great opener. My reservation about the solo, Daniel was terrific as well. But I just noticed that the downbeats seemed quite light, and the second beats of the bar came in each time with really rather hard attacks. We get bang, bang, and it got to be a little bit sort of intrusive at times. Maybe a softer tongue approach to those second beats of each of the bars might have helped. But having said that, lovely work from the soloist as well. And then Kingdom Triumphant, lovely scenery, as you said, lovely place to visit. But by now, the predictable boxes appearing all the time were beginning to get on my nerves a little bit. They could have had, in situ, people standing on the river side or something, or in a park. So everybody sort of in their little boxes all over the place was a bit predictable. But an impressive programme.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. And I'm just looking at the YouTube chat now. Apparently, Philip has gone bass blind, someone says. There was one player on the video, obviously doing a great job on the dovetail with himself.
Just the one player. Now that takes an artist.
So yes, so the basses were certainly a talking point there in the Mickelmersch Silver Band, but loads and loads to commend. So, and thank you for the tour of your beautiful town. Yeah, we all feel like we've been there now and are very much enriched for the experience. So thank you so much for your support of our contest. Mickelmersch Silver Band there were band number 3. Well, let's move to band number 4 now, which is the St Denis Band from Cornwall in the west of England, with their musical director Darren Hawken. Now, St Denis has selected a Cornish-themed and rather nautical-inspired programme. They start their programme with music from the pen of Cornishman Gough Richards. Named after the iconic statue at the heart of Luxembourg City to commemorate their fallen war heroes, the Golden Lady was commissioned by the Cornwall Youth Brass Band for their tour of the country. The band then continues with music by another Cornishman, Christopher Bond, with his beautiful and lyrical melody, Aristotle's Air. It was Aristotle's belief in one of the 4 elements of matter, water, that the band dedicates this very piece to the surrounding seas of the 400-mile rugged coastline of Cornwall. It's unsurprising that being surrounded by sea and with many coves and hidden inlets, in an economy bolstered by piracy and fishing, Cornwall has many tales and myths of the sea, including enchanting mermaids. The band's penultimate item is taken from the world of Disney, namely The Little Mermaid. If you look closely enough, you may well find a Cornish mermaid or two lurking under the sea. Finally, there is no doubt that Sir Malcolm Arnold's concert march, The Padstow Lifeboat, must be one of the most popular brass band pieces ever written. In fact, we had a band perform it earlier today in the 3rd section. Complete with the iconic foghorn of the Trevose Lighthouse, it's travelled the world, taking the name of the small Cornish town with it. It is, in fact, a very personal work by Arnold, whilst living in nearby St Merrin, written specifically for the launching of a new lifeboat in Padstow by the Duke of Kent in 1968. On the day of the launch, the first performance was given by... yes, the St Denis Band, whose musical director, Eddie Williams, handed over the baton to the composer to conduct. With 2021 being Arnold's centenary year, it's only fitting that the band concludes their programme playing tribute to his Cornish legacy and the touching affiliation this very work has with St Denis Band. Here we go then, St Denis Band are band number 4.
I'm Band Lance Corporal Matthew Fletcher, and I'm a euphonium player with the Band of Her Majesty's Royal Marines, Portsmouth. I joined the Royal Marines Band Service in 2016 after graduating from the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. During my time at the college, I played for the Cory Band and was lucky enough to travel around the world and also win every major brass banding competition. Since starting my career, I've continued studying for a master's degree in performance, which is heavily subsidised by the band service. I'm also fortunate to be granted time away from my job to continue playing with brass bands. I always enjoy the opportunity to go back to the Cory Band and get the red jacket on again.
Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Some messages from our sponsors and partners there. We're very grateful to all of them for supporting our competition this year. And it's the main reason that we're able to bring you all of these hours and hours of 3 weekends worth of brass band entertainment free on the Cory Band YouTube channel. So please do support our sponsors. Please check out their website, see what they've got to offer. There's some fantastic things there. And it's great to see Matt Fletcher in that Royal Marines advert, obviously ex-member of Cory Band, now plying his trade in the Royal Marines. And the band we've just listened to as well has a member, Reuben Tompkins, who was a member of the St Dennis Band, is now a professional musician in the band of the Royal Marines. Nice little connection there. So let's talk about St Dennis Band. So first of all, Nigel, I mean, the first thing to say, I mean, between conductors, you and I think that was the first band that's actually featured its conductor on the screen. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, centre stage as well, right in the middle there.
As it should be.
With his typical handkerchief in his top pocket.
An excellent handkerchief from Darren. And then, of course, towards the end of the clip, we saw another conductor on the screen, didn't we? What did you make of Malcolm Arnold's conducting?
One of my favourite composers. It's the centenary of his birth this year. And I'm at the moment reading his book, or a book written about him called Rogue Genius. Subtitled One of the Most Misunderstood Composers in Britain. It's a fascinating story. Anyone wants to read this book, it's just wonderful. Yeah, Malcolm Arnold, terrific sense of humour, of course, in his music, but not really taken seriously at all by the elite musical people in Britain at the time of other great composers, but wrote a great deal of film music. And of course, it's sort of indicative with this Padstow Lifeboat music, which is very cinematographic? That word, anyway.
Cinematic. I think
yeah.
in English we say cinematic.
Cinematic.
Yeah.
Graphic, yes. Okay.
Anyway, the performance of the band.
Yeah. The performance, I thought, overall, really, really good. Golden Lady, they began with, and one of my favourite composers again in Gough Richards, and I know one of yours as well, Phil. We feature Gough's music a lot in Cory performances. Beautiful music, great tune, as always, with Gough Richards. The percussion drives that music well. It was balanced entries, and the counter melody is so important in Gough's music. They're clearly heard as well. Great ending. Aristotle's Air by Chris Bond. Again, he has a connection with Cory Band, of course. Great intonation from the euphonium came at the beginning, which sets up the fine solo from trombonist Dylan. Beautiful views of Cornwall. Slow music is not easy at all. I'm sure the boys here will vouch for that. Not easy at all to do in remote situations, but I thought that was very well managed.
And they've certainly got some beautiful scenery in Cornwall to feature there, haven't they? With the sea in most shots. I mean, wow.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of which, Under the Sea, that was a fantastic contrast, of course, with great graphics and a great feel to this. It's a shame that we had static brass players in their boxes, and yet the only person really enjoying themselves seemed to be the percussionist who did the swaying. I think other bands during the whole of the competition, if there's been an up-tempo music, and that certainly was great up-tempo music, they could have maybe just... I was swaying along to it, and maybe they could as well.
They were resisting the urge, maybe.
Perhaps, yes. And of course, the Malcolm Arnold was just a fantastic ending.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Tom, they seem to go, they're very popular with the green screen in that band. Lots and lots of effects, particularly in Under the Sea, actually. It worked. It was pretty good visually, wasn't it? What did you pick out?
It did, really. I thought Nigel would have been a little happy with that one because we didn't have any square boxes. We had some circular boxes instead. But
he's a hard man to please, Nigel.
We're getting there. Maybe some triangular ones in the next performance. Who knows? But yeah, I thought the use of the green screen was really clever. I was also impressed with how the trombone player managed to play so beautifully with half a slide missing. that was something.
We noticed that. Yeah, you wouldn't have thought the sound would be quite so good as it was, would you?
No, not quite sure how that one worked. But yeah, I thought the Golden Lady was a brilliant opener, and as you said, a really clever use of imagery. And a shout out to the drummer as well, super talented player they were as well. Aristotle's Air, we know how beautiful this piece is, but it takes good soloists to make this work, and we certainly had that from the euphonium and the trombone player. I thought the production in this piece was particularly better than the first one, actually. I know that's something that we discussed here in the room, but I'm not quite sure why that might have been. But Under the Sea, who doesn't love this piece? There's certainly some interesting choices of shirts, and I wrote perhaps they were a little too bright and distracting when they were recording, because I didn't think that the tightness was quite as what we had in the first piece, but nonetheless it was certainly entertaining and just a great spectacle to watch. And the Padstow Lifeboat, well, we've played this before, but I feel like I feel like my life's complete. I've seen Malcolm Arnold and the St Dennis Band, perform this. This is, it was quite a treat actually to watch, and certainly the old video footage that we saw at the end really topped it off. Just a really nice, enjoyable performance that was.
Yeah, we must admit some of the bands across all the sections we've had this time, some of the footage they come up with is really compelling stuff, isn't it? When you see something as historic as Malcolm Arnold, I'll say conducting in inverted commas, the St Dennis Band there. I mean, you can't take your eyes off the screen, really, can you? It's all part of the package. So thank you very much, and well done to the St Dennis Band. Fantastic performance as band number 4 there in our championship section in tonight's Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Let's move straight on to band number 5. So band number 5 is Filton Concert Brass from the west of England. Their musical director is Daniel Hoare. Now, they have asked me to read this to you. Stories of knights and dragons have ignited children's dreams for hundreds of years. Land of myth and magic is a delve into the tales passed on throughout the ages, and this collection of pieces is a homage to the noble lessons and culture that they have spread throughout Europe and the wider world. There we are. Here we go then. Band number 5, Filton Concert Brass.
I am an angel, I am a saviour, I am a murderer, I am a knight. I have walked the ancient kingdoms and climbed the highest peaks, and I have come to tell you, it's all true. And if you doubt my word, then come, join me. And when you hear the roar of flame rolling through the mountains, you too will believe in a land of myth and magic. mere men daring to face abhorrent terrors from the darkest pits of the earth, willing to charge into a storm of spear and blade. But what drives this needless bloodshed? For honor? For vengeance? I have witnessed those souls upon the eve of battle. I have seen their light, I have heard their cries, and I have felt their thunder. In their eyes is love. Love of home, love of family, love of a princess. The right of a king is held not in his grip, but in his heart and his mind. Only a reptile relies on his venom. A wolf relies on the strength of his pack. The wolf bears his fangs as men bear their swords. Swords cast in flame, cast for death. All but one. One cast from water, cast for life. A blade named Excalibur.
Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. We've just heard band number 5, Filton Concert Brass. Let's see what the judges thought. So, Tom, over to you.
Well, it was certainly a different performance to some that we've perhaps heard this evening. An interesting opener, obviously a new work, and some nice balanced sounds. But for me, personally, not quite the right piece to open the programme with. It didn't perhaps have me on the edge of my seat like some of the other performances and some of the other music did. But yeah, it was a nice piece nonetheless. The second piece from A Love of a Princess, some really nice playing here. I just thought it was a little bit static in regards to the on-screen images. I think that perhaps you could have explored a little bit more with that. It seems, particularly as the music is, quite slow and doesn't, go anywhere as such. But yeah, I thought it was. It was a nice performance nonetheless. The only thing that perhaps let it down in that piece was there was a couple of players that were side by side, and I understand that obviously during these times we can't have access to perhaps all the players that we might want, but it would have been nice to maybe just mix those up a little bit so it wasn't quite so obvious that we were looking at the same person. And then the last piece, I don't know this one, but it was certainly an exciting way to end. But I think my overall feeling about the performance was it was good playing. I was just left a little, unsure about the theme and the story of the performance. I think it's probably fair to say the production wasn't quite on the same level as other performances we've seen, but who am I to say? I wouldn't know where to start with anything like that. But I just felt that there was a little bit more in the tank that they could have given.
Okay, The Land of Myth and Magic was the name of the programme. Steve, did you buy into it?
No, not really. I mean, it's just the narration. I liked the narration, but it didn't hang together for me. I didn't, or possibly I'm a bit thick and I didn't understand what was going on. There was some great playing in there. It didn't hang together, and that's just my personal opinion. It was a very dramatic opening, I thought, and I agree with Tom. I don't know about it as an opener, but it was quite dramatic, and I just wrote at the end, yes, I did hear that, Mr. Sop.
Yeah, I thought you might be listening to that.
Well, you nailed it. Well done, mate. For the Love of a Princess, again, it's very hard to get the balance right and stuff like that. And I've just put down, well played, Clara. Well done. Good stuff. The Excalibur, it didn't do it for me as a last piece. It was brave to take it on, and I just felt that overall, the thing that got me was that it was very boxy. And it's like Nigel was talking about this earlier. And I don't know, does that work? I don't think so now. There are people sort of, I do understand that people they're limited with what they can do with their own personal circumstances with everything that's going on. But I just found it a bit boxy. But overall, well played. But it left me a bit puzzled. I just didn't really know what was going on.
The curate's egg, would we say?
You could say that.
The curate's egg, yeah. I think what's not in doubt is that there was some fine playing in the programme, wasn't there? And certainly in the Excalibur there was some really good technical stuff. And in the slow piece, as you said, Clara played really well. And I thought some of the cornet lines were pretty well balanced as well. So some good musical performance, but judges left a little bit scratching their heads a little bit on some of that, as you've heard from their comments. Let us know what you think, of course, in the YouTube chat. It's all about opinion, isn't it? Thank you so much to the Filton Concert Brass Band for supporting our contest and for entering our contest. Fantastic to see your performance. Filton was band number 5. Let's move on to band number 6 now. We are north of the border. It's the Unison Canal Band from Scotland with the musical director Chris Shanks. Now, the Unison Canal Band hails from the Bo'ness area of Scotland. The band has been in existence since 1858, where in normal circumstances, the band not only has a busy contest and concert schedule, but is also integral to the local community. Despite COVID times, the band has continued to support its local community virtually, as well as continuing weekly online rehearsals and compete in as many online contests as possible. We'd like to start with what is regarded by some one of the best TV themes ever written by Morton Stevens from the CBS series Hawaii Five-0, arranged by Philip Harper. The band then turned to the pen of Pete Meekan for our regional piece. Originally written for the 2007 Scottish Open, the band will play Lament from Macbeth, featuring Caroline Tennant on flugel and Graham McGregor on trombone. To finish, the band will bring to you an infectious Latin number, which will have you dancing in your homes. A Johnny Richards classic, arranged by Philip Harper again. You know I'm not one of the judges, don't you? La Suerte de los Tontos, featuring soprano soloist Owen Downs and cornet soloist Lauren Robb. Lots to look forward to then in performance of band number 6, the Unison Canal Band. What a fabulous performance of La Suerte de los Tontos, the Fortune of Fools, there by the Unison Canal Band, our band number 6 in the competition this evening. Right, so Unison Canal Band from Scotland. Let's go to our resident Scotsman, Steve Stewart. What did you think?
I really enjoyed that. It just made me smile. There was some great stuff going on there. Just a pity for me, just going through all three pieces. The first piece kind of let it down a bit. I've got here nice tempo. It just didn't settle down. It's good stuff, but it just felt a bit scrappy. And I was thinking, right, so what's coming next? And then we had the Lament from Macbeth, which I know well from a previous Scottish Open many years ago, where it was the set test piece. The main soloist was Caroline Tennant. Absolutely fantastic, Caroline. I just thought it was such a lovely sound. I know how hard that is. I remember going through it with our flugel player at the time, who was having real trouble with it. And all I can say is chapeau. Chapeau to you, Caroline. Fantastic. When Graham came in, really, I loved it. The whole thing really had a great atmospheric feel about it.
And a bold choice of that particular piece, did you think?
I think so. I mean, it's taken a real chance because, as usual, we all know here that, slow and quiet equals difficult. That is the most difficult stuff you will do.
But in terms of a balanced programme, obviously the first and last pieces were pure fun, and then it worked as a contrast, didn't it?
I think so. It held together really nicely. I'd just like to comment again, too many boxes. But the final piece, and I was thinking, right, how's this going to go? And I've just put here, this is my first time, and all of us, I think, this is our first time of hearing someone else play this piece. And I tell you what, we were not let down. This was absolutely brilliant. I just thought the graphics were a bit static again. There was not enough movement. You could have given it a wee bit of that, or a little sway or something. It felt that, but I could see by the way you were doing it, you were really trying hard. Overall, I just thought this was really, really, really good. Owen, you're a star, mate. Absolutely fantastic. And Lauren, brilliantly done. Both of you. Fantastic stuff.
I think we can definitely say that's got the Steve Stewart seal of approval. Let's see if we can get the Nigel Seaman seal of approval as well.
Well, Steve was on the edge of his seat the whole way through, leaning forward like that. Very intent watching that performance, and I enjoyed it as well. But I pretty much the same what Steve said for myself. There was plenty of drive in Hawaii 5-0, and there was good pulse. Unfortunately, I put that not everyone lined up with that at times, and there were muddy moments. So, as Steve said, we were all expecting what's coming next, and the Lament really was fantastic scene setting, lovely playing from Caroline, as you said, great tone and intonation as well, which isn't always a tick box on flute, is it? Graham's entry was fine toned also, and the two worked so well together. And it was so sonorous as well in the tutti section. Great upper cornet sounds, and those cluster chords toward the end were really so brilliantly balanced, including that lovely diminuendo. It was a fantastic item. All I can say about La Suerte, the great groove, and it was detailed, and really, I suppose it would be the only time so far that all all five of us in the room were actually swaying, and even Mr. Harper was tapping his foot and enjoying himself with a big smile on his face. So it gets the definite stamp of approval from the arranger of that music, and from all of us. A great programme, thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you enjoyed that piece at home, it is available to buy from Right and Round Music Publishers. Check them out, rightandround.com. They are supporters of our contest, one of our sponsors of the contest this weekend. To the Unison Canal Band, thank you very much indeed for bringing your programme, your music making to us this evening. Lots and lots to enjoy in your programme. So congratulations to you. Let's move on to band number 7 then. Now, as you know, we are doing half of the championship section this evening, and we're going to reconvene tomorrow evening to finish off the other 8 bands. So this is the penultimate band of this evening's session. And band number 7 is the Amisham Band from London and the Southern Counties, with their musical director, Paul Fisher. Now, they provide the following story by way of an introduction. Waking up from his long hibernation in lockdown, musical director Fish Fingers' first thought is to call his principal cornet. The band is a distant memory, but Fish has a brainwave. I want to get the band back together, he tells wild Will Watson. So begins a frantic odyssey with the band on a mission from God to restore music to the nation. Loosely based on the Blues Brothers movie, Amisham Band lay down a heady mix of soul, blues and gospel numbers. Chased by the coronavirus cops, can the band escape? Or is it back to jail for fish fingers? Let's find out as we watch the Amisham Band.
Son? Will, it's Fish. Listen, I've had a dream. I want to get the band back together.
The band? The band?
Let's do this!
Hit it.
We're so glad to see so many of you lovely people at the Cory Online Band Competition, and we do sincerely hope you enjoy the show.
Consequences of your act.
Think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, is your mind gonna let yourself be free? Let's go back, let's go back, let's go way back when. I didn't even know you, it could have been too much more than 10. I'm no psychiatrist and no doctor with degree, but it don't take much IQ to see what you're doing to me. You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Yeah, think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Oh, freedom, 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 freedom. You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, any mind gonna let yourself be free? Let's go back, let's go way back when. I didn't even know you were too much more than 10. Well, I ain't no psychiatrist, ain't no doctor with degree. It don't take much IQ to see what you're doing to me. You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Oh, freedom, 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 freedom. Here's a story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a low-down hoochie coochie. She was the roughest, toughest frail, but Minnie had a heart as big as a whale. Hidey, 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 hidey. Hody, 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 ho. Hody, 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 ho. Heedy, 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 heedy. Hidey, 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 ho. Hidey, 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 ho. She had a dream about the King of Sweden. He gave her things that she was needing. He gave her a home full of gold and steel, a diamond car with a platinum wheel. Hidey, 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 hidey. Hidey, 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 hidey. Hody, 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 ho. Hody, 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 ho. Skilly whoop, skilly whoop, skilly willy willy whoop. Skilly whoop, skilly whoop, skilly willy willy whoop. Skilly dit day over dit day over dit day over day da. Amen, amen, amen.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Wow. Okay. That was astonishing. I'm going to go straight to Steve Stewart. Please put into words the shapes you were just making there.
There was one band last time in the first section, and I just went, wow. And I'm just about to do it again. Wow. That had everything. It had me glued for 10 minutes. It had some faces from the past for me. What just brilliant. The whole thing hung together brilliantly. It told a story. The band were involved. It was just busy the whole time. And then you shove up on screen Georgina, who's just a brilliant singer, one of my favourite singers. And then you shove up Pete playing saxophone, who's one of my favourite saxophone players. And it's just like one thing after another. And I'm like, just stop this. I've got to go and have a rest for a minute. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Blown away with it.
You definitely put those shapes into words there, Steve. Thank you very much. So you liked it then?
Just a lot, yeah.
Okay. Nigel, what did you think?
Well, now then, I'm going to be the stick in the mud now, because I'm afraid in my advanced years, the Blues Brothers have passed me by.
Oh.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, they passed me by. But that it won't detract at all from my enjoyment of the music, because here in the studio, the laughs were almost drowning out the music in my headphones, because everybody, I looked around the room, was having a whale of a time listening to that. And I enjoyed it. So I didn't get all the jokes, of course, because it's not my sort of kind of music. Forget that. There were laugh-out moments, but for me, one of the cleanest band balances. It's so tight, driven, balanced, great vocals, of course, from Georgina. Fruity and sultry, I put, in equal measure. The graphics are excellent. Plenty of laughs here in the studio, and Will Watson, Georgina, stars of the show, along with the saxophone as well. So, yeah, 10 out of 10 for me as well.
So much invention there, wasn't it? And I remember noting this the last time we did our contest, but it makes such a connection with the audience when you say what the name of the band members are as well, doesn't it?
Yep.
And we got all their nicknames as well. So we got Fish Fingers and Rambo, Rock and Rollinson, Molotov Mary or something like that. I was writing a few of them now. My favourite was probably Fierce Pierce, who was so fierce that he chose to play the tenor horn. That's a proper tenor horn name, that, isn't it? Tom, what did you make of Amisham?
Yeah, I'm a bit lost for words, really. It was pretty special, wasn't it? I mean, there's a band that found the theme and just ran with it, for sure. I don't know about an online brass band championships. I felt like I've just watched a short movie. It was that well put together. I really didn't write a lot, to be honest. I just thought it was just super cool from start to finish. I can't wait to see them at the Areas next year in the new uniform as well. That'll be fun to watch. I just think that there's been so much time spent on that. I mean, every single detail was nigh on perfect. And you didn't. I hardly wrote anything down because I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. There wasn't just, you know, one thing going on at once, sometimes 3 or 4 different features, and you know, that's even before we talk about the playing, which was spot on. I mean, you know, I guess when you don't even notice, you know, the playing in itself, that really tells a story of how good it is, because you know you're not hearing anything untoward. But it was just sensational. I don't think I've seen anything quite like that from the championships at all since we've started doing it. So thank you. It was amazing.
Can I just say as well, a big shout out to Will Watson. That's fantastic stuff on Minnie the Moocher as well. I meant to mention that. Fantastic stuff, Will.
And I also have to add as well, I mean, I think the other thing that did it for me was we saw all the band members, every single one of them was totally committed to it, weren't they? Now, so we know how abstract it is to be sitting at home and someone sends you the music and they say, play that. No, but you've got to buy into it, haven't you?
Absolutely.
So the band has done such a good job of selling their concept to all the players in the band, and you can see there's not, like you said, Tom, when the players are on the screen, you can look anywhere you want. There's always something interesting and committed happening.
Yep, I totally agree.
Wow, we think we've seen something special there. Congratulations to the Amisham band, and I mean, thank you so much for all the effort that you've put into your performance there. You were band number 7 in our championship section this evening. Wow. Well, we've got one more band to go, but before we see that band, we all need to cool down a little bit. So we're going to take an ad break. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes with our last band of this evening. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Mike Lovett. I'm a freelance trumpet player.
It's a great chance for the trainees to come and listen to Mike's experiences and help on how to improve on the trumpet.
wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought it would be. He was really chilled out and it was quite an informal day.
Hopefully when they're in their respective bands, they'll be able to play better and to a higher standard.
Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. We are in the championship section now, which is sponsored by World of Brass. We've got as far as band number 8, so we've got to the halfway stage, and this will be the final band for this evening's contest. And then I'll ask you all to tune in tomorrow again from 6 p.m. so we can conclude the section and give the results to all the sections. So band number 8 in the championship section is the Lidbrick Band from the west of England in the UK with their musical director Ian Holmes. Now, Lidbrick Band is from the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire and has created a continuous programme of music for this online competition, all from the pen of the band's composer-in-residence, Liz Lane. With added narration and animation, we are delighted to share music and visuals depicting the very heart of our region, the iconic River Wye. Here we are with band number 8, the Lidbrick Band.
Lidbrick Band's programme represents one of the village's regional features, the River Wye, which meanders slowly but sometimes violently at the foot of our valley. Music by Liz Lane includes the reflective River of Time, composed for the 2020 Wye Valley River Festival, featuring the many couples in our family band and the joyful Rainbow River written especially for this contest. We hope you enjoy Lidbrick Band's journey along the River Wye.
Heraclitus says, "No one ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and they are not the same person. Heracliton, flame eternal. If the flow is slow enough, and you have a good bicycle or a horse, it is possible to bathe twice in the same river. Augusto Monterosso, the river of time, is a Heraclitan torch. Branded new sun rises every day, body electric, haptic right, chevron on air, mask a mass, carapaces, and rainbow-hearted moon. Shive lights and shadow tritium in triplicate clash clone cloak and base bear Claire de Lune. Sheer off, disseveral, a star, death blots, nor black out, nor mark. Folk time, time is cultural, grammaticize your dysfunction, tongue of relativity, tenseless feet, realis contorts irrealis, when time is not space. River of time is a Heraclitan torch. Come on now, taik mono. Afon firain a theg, holy lligwy, cli yn flow, holy frown, tangnefedd, arrow and row and furrow, canon brook, canan ail, cam ddŵr, dilas, llyfni, enig, edw, dihonw, irfon, camarch, gwetyn, gwi, wai. A river of mutable flame.
I want to know who I am, so I can let go. Let it all out. I want you to feel what I feel, so you can hear my soul sing. I want you to hear my story, so you can pass it on. I want to make waves.
Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. We've heard 8 bands in the championship section this evening. The last band we just heard before the break was the Lidbrick Band and their conductor Ian Holmes. Let's go straight to the judges and see what they thought of Lidbrick. Tom Hutchinson.
Well, in the words of John Cleese, now time for something completely different, I think fair to say. Liz Lane, I think we know her music quite well. She's an amazing composer. And the music certainly didn't disappoint. Really beautiful sounds to open with, such emotion coming from the music itself. I thought the idea of drawing the Four Seasons in the background was great, but I think that it was perhaps for me it got to a point where the changes became so subtle that it kind of it was finished almost, and I know it wasn't because we went through the seasons, but I would have perhaps liked to have just seen a few more of the band members on screen a little bit more often. But it was a really, really clever idea. Beautiful music, as I said, and some stunning solo playing as well. And it's just something that I think we haven't seen at all before. And I said, like, in the last performance, it was like watching a mini movie. That was also like watching a mini movie, just a completely different kind of movie in itself. So yeah, really well done to everyone that's put that together, because with all these distance performances, they take so much time to get to get people working on side, and there was a lot of effort going into that, but it was just quite different to something that there's a lot of things that we've seen already.
Yes, agreed. Look at lots of people in that collaboration, and well done to you all. Nigel, what are your thoughts on Lidbrick?
Yeah, along with Tom, I loved the concept of what they were doing. The introduction from Belinda was lovely, and it was a lovely scene setting with this idyllic, peaceful music that Liz had written representing the gentle flow of the river. After a while, as Tom said, there was kind of a static feeling then to it. I was hoping that there'd be other graphics to add a bit of interest, because it was very subtle, as you said, the changes. But the soloists appeared over that the scene, and everybody played well. For me, the pulse remained constant for much of the performance. And so they got a feeling of, when will something slightly more interesting or different happen. Towards the end then, the faster music did help a lot to lift the atmosphere, and it came on to a really impressive finale with the band on the riverbank there waving to us, all of us. For me, it probably is an excellent concert item. Where it sits in an entertainment contest, when we've just heard the band before, is a really difficult one to assess as an adjudicator.
Which is exactly your job.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Sorry to break it to you, Nigel. You're the one making the decisions on this one. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you just made reference to it, but the final shot of the band on the riverbank, and then on the bridge on the river, not the bridge over the River Kwai, but the bridge over the River Wye.
Yeah. I think that's the bridge that goes to the boat pub, which is a very nice pub.
Oh, okay.
An old railway bridge. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody in Lidbrick.
That was great, actually. One of the best shots we've seen in the competition so far, wasn't it? Was it the Lidbrick helicopter that was flying by, or maybe they had it on a drone or something? I don't know, but that was great, wasn't it? Good way of seeing the entire band on screen, getting them socially distanced, spaced out on the bank there. I enjoyed that. Great. Okay, thank you very much indeed to the Lidbrick Band. Congratulations on your performance, and thank you for your entry to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. So we've come to the halfway point in the championship section. I thought it might be interesting, without giving too much away, just to have a sentence each from the judges, just to see what they've thought of it so far, of all 8 bands. Maybe from you first, Tom. How are you finding it so far?
It's been a really enjoyable evening, hasn't it? A really varied group of performances that we've had. A couple of standout ones. I think that the performances that have kind of gone with the theme have really stood out for me, and so the ones with a clear theme that are really obvious for us to see. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't really one bad performance. I would say. I think everyone's delivered, certainly on the playing front at least, and it's been great fun to watch.
High quality, yeah. Steve?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that Tom said. There's not been a bad performance here tonight. Everyone's put obviously a lot of time and effort into this, and we really appreciate that here at Cory. And I think it's added to, for me, what's been a very, very enjoyable evening.
Yeah, excellent. Final word to you, Nigel?
Yes, the evening just seems to have sped by, really. Really enjoyable evening. It just goes to show I think it's easy to forget, really, that people are recording this remotely in their own front rooms because the quality is so good that at times you just forget that they're not in a recording studio doing this. So the achievement of every single band, as we said, to put a performance of the quality we've heard so far in the contest is exceptional. Yeah.
There we are. So all to play for. Some difficult decisions already reached, I'm sure, and certainly to be reached when the competition continues tomorrow. So tomorrow we have the Enderby Band, we have the Gus Band, we have the Lindby Tarbuck Band from Denmark, we have the Whitburn Band from Scotland, Paris Brass Band from France, City of Cardiff from close to home here in Wales. We have the Friary Guildford Band and the Oldbourne Band. All of that is to come tomorrow. We'll be on air again from 6 p.m. And don't forget, and tell all of your mates that might have been involved in other sections of the contest if they've forgotten, we'll be running our full results ceremony from 9 p.m. tomorrow at the conclusion of the championship section. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the entertainment as much as we have, and we look forward to seeing you again 6 p.m. on Cory Band's YouTube channel tomorrow for the concluding final part of the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. See you then.